Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Now by Disney, or current Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it, Legends. Today, we finish off the Lost Tribe of the Sith story. Of course, it will be picked back up in Fate of the Jedi, but as for now, we're done with it, with the last 3 short stories and the comic series, Lost Spiral, I believe is the title. But that is all we have left. I'm going to group them as a whole when discussing non-spoiler wise because it all follows the same group of characters. The thing about the Lost Tribe of the Sith book, if you get it, I probably mentioned this before, I don't remember, is that a lot of these stories jump around in time. You'll go 1,000 years, another 1,000 years, another 50 years, like time passes by. We don't usually follow the same characters, so it's hard to get invested in the characters. I have to say, I've found most of them to be kind of a bore, but it's okay because I believe the first 8 stories were basically free, and then the last one came as an addition with buying the book. So you got an additional story, which justified the purchase for a lot of people. But the last 3, 7, 8, and 9, follow this same set of characters. There's a guy named Hiltz, I think that's his last name, but he's probably the most interesting part of those 3 stories for how little he is in some of them. The thing about the series as a whole, there's nothing fantastic about it. There's nothing awful about it. It's just it's there, like you need more EU. You're just craving some more EU. Well, there's more EU. It's not really gonna make you, like feel something. I don't know. Because there are definitely books that I've read in the past where I've been like, man, this is emotionally compelling. Like this is good stuff, or this is exciting stuff. Like first time I read the Thrawn trilogy, I've bashed Timothy Zahn for basically all of his other works. I haven't read Outbound Flight yet. I'm sure I'll like that one, but I've bashed him for quite a bit of his other works, like Allegiance and Choices of One. But his Thrawn trilogy, while not perfect, because nothing is perfect, it's a masterpiece though. Like you read that book and that feels like 7, 8, and 9. Like it just feels like a movie, like something that you would see of a continuation of your favorite characters. And then even with Darth Plagueis, even though it's a different kind of book, it was I still got that Star Wars feeling, though different because it was from a dark side perspective, which being in the Old Republic era, you get a lot of that, right? Like, and I guess the thing is still like I'm like I want to like these characters because I didn't really care about them in Fate of the Jedi, so I'm hoping this series will change my mind, and it really doesn't. It really doesn't, because at the same time that this is going on, you had all the Old Republic stuff going on, and it's like I don't know, it's hard to care. Um, but for what it was, they were all decent stories. None of them were bad by any means. They were all perfectly acceptable, I guess. As for the comic, we get introduced to a daughter of Hiltz, and she's kind of the main character of the series. There's this, like not thief, like this rogue kind of guy of the Sith. Um, I guess you could call him the Han Solo of the Lost Tribe. I don't know. He's okay. Uh, all the personalities are stuff that I've seen before. Um, there was some legitimately fun moments in the comic though, with certain things that get mentioned and characters that appear. But other than that, nothing particularly special. Um, yeah, I mean, they're all really short stories. The last one, the ninth story in the Lost Tribe of the Sith book follows. It's like 17, like short chapters, but that's more, because the other 8 stories are only like 4 chapters long. So, it's a bit longer, but basically, the first one is kind of like a holiday, and Hiltz gets involved with that, and some revelations are made. 8, Hiltz is now like the leader of the Lost Tribe, and then 9 is war, but not Star Wars, just Planet Wars, because it's all on Kesh. Um, and then Sith shenanigans, ancient Sith shenanigans with the comics. And I guess that's all I'll say there to allude without spoiling anything. It's, like I said, I think you should read this if you've gone through most of the EU already and you have nothing else to read. I can't, like, unless you're a really big fan of if you were like Fate of the Jedi, I freaking, those Lost Tribes of Sith people, I was in love with them. Like, I wanted to learn more about them. Then you will absolutely enjoy these short stories and the comic. But if you were like me and couldn't care less about the Lost Tribe, this is not gonna change your mind. It's not going to. Um, but yeah, it was a decent, okay series of short stories and a comic line that went 5 issues. That is basically it. Um, yeah. So if you don't want spoilers or you don't care or whatever, then come and stick with me as I talk about some things, not too much, but some things that I found interesting. And if not, then it is time for you to check out and leave. But anyway, I'm going to get into it. So starting with book book 8, Secrets. Book 7, Pantheon. It's a holiday for the Lost Tribe. Like I said, they're remembering the people who, crash landed and ended up taking control. By the end of the short story, what we kind of learn is that, we already kind of knew this, but the characters here learn, it's a big revelation for them, that the Lost Tribe are basically just slaves. They are, because the people originally crash landed, right? The Sith, they were servants to Naga Sadow. They were not top dog, but they were praised as top dog by the planets because they were the Sith who had the Force and could do all this seemingly magical stuff, right? So that was how their whole religion was kind of based around, was that fact. The Sith were gods and the Kashari were meant to be slaves and all that. But finding out that they answer to a higher power, to someone bigger than them, and was an alien of all things with red skin, which by this time they're kind of like making sure that the red skin Sith are kind of dying out. The MMO of SWTOR, it doesn't really show that because there's still plenty of red Sith. So at some point in time, in just the main part of the galaxy, the Sith red race skins either go extinct or they just go somewhere else and stop being active in the galaxy. That's kind of a weird thing that's not really explained. But at least for the Lost Tribe, they kind of established that they kind of just died off. So, but that's basically it. They're like, we got to keep this a secret. And then Hiltz ends up being in charge. Book 8, Secrets. It's a quest. Oh, he's not. By the end of this, he is, I think. Yeah, he goes on a quest, Hiltz, to find Omen. And so he's looking for that. And then by the end of it, they end up finding a path to the rest of the planet because they're actually ignorant on like the whole planet as a whole and what's on it. And so they find out there's more civilization on different parts of the planet. They're like, well, there we go. That's how we can unify the Sith in epic conquest of the world. And so that's what they plan on doing. And then we get to book 9, which is the longest short story, spanning 17 chapters. This one is called Pandemonium. And basically we have the invasion of this other part of Kesh. And we follow this kind of mom who's trying to cheat on her husband thing, or whatever that's going on. But eventually the Sith invade while that's happening. And later on, we have another part of the Sith show up to come help with the takeover. And they're trying to do like, the guy wants to do like a small scale palps. Like he wants to basically rule from the shadows at this part of the world, because there's already a government in place. There's already things kind of running smoothly. So if he just snakes his way in, takes commands or gives commands from the top, there's already like a government and a society and everything's already kind of working. He can just take over that. But he doesn't think about the fifth, that he killed all the officials. And so that's a big bluster in his plans, because eventually people are going to realize that all the actual leaders are dead, which is kind of stupid of him. But nobody can, nobody, not everybody's like Palps, who's like, oh no, I actually got to just have them elect me, have them willingly elect me, so they can't do anything about it once I do the tyranny. Um, um, Birdman, by the end of it, Hiltz shows back up again. He pretends to be this like Birdman thing, and convinces them that the Sith are actually the good guys and that they should follow him. And so now more of the planet can be one unified Sith planet, I guess. And the last thing we have to talk about is the Lost Tribe of Sith comic series that went 5 issues, also by John Jackson Miller, as were all of these short stories. The first thing I learned was that it was 2,942 years before the Battle of Yavin. So we're getting closer and closer to the prequel era, to the most familiar things. So that's interesting, because I know the SWTOR is like 3,000. And then we follow Takara, who's the daughter of Hiltz. We end up meeting this lost faction, because apparently what happened is there was this entire lore that the Kashari species already had. Sorry about the voice crack. Before the Sith actually arrived there from Naga Sadow, there were these even more ancient Sith than Naga Sadow who were fighting, and some Jedi got trapped on there. I think along with some Sith, I don't remember, but they died out. But the Jedi stayed there, but they hid and they became the Doomed, and they have this like weird philosophy and stuff. And you have one of the coolest things about this comic, which I will give due credit, is that they had the I forget what the race is called, but it's those winged, like kind of like gargoyle looking things. The show Gargoyles. It's a good show, but they're from like an old Marvel comic, and then also there was a short story made by Abel C. Pena, called Skywalkers, which had those same species. But there was one of those in there, so that was cool. But basically, they help the lesser of the two evils of the Sith help out, because basically one of the Sith, I forget what the guy's name is. Kresh, Ludu. No, not that's a different guy. Celeste Morn, and now she has to wear the talisman because there's the evil guy inside. There was 3 other Sith that were accompanying that. I believe one of those Sith would later go on to talk to Darth Krayt, but one of those Sith ends up coming back into this series, and he's causing havoc on the whole planet of Kesh. There's Leviathans everywhere. They're eating everyone and causing mass destruction, and it's something they have to stop. Eventually they do. By the end of it, they do find out that there was a ship that the Jedi left behind, but that ship gets destroyed by the end of it. So of course they're still stuck on the planet, because they gotta be stuck on the planet for thousands of years until Luke and friends come upon them. And so that's just kind of how it ends. It's hard to care when I know their stories aren't going to continue, because by the time we see the Lost Tribe again, all these characters we've been introduced to are going to be long dead. So it's just kind of, but overall, the Lost Tribe of the Sith story as a whole, whether we're counting Fate of the Jedi or just this, both of those combined, certainly not the best of the EU, certainly not the worst, but it's something there if you need more EU in your life. I'm glad I read it, because it's EU and I want it in my life. I want all the EU I can suck up into my little head. But it wasn't that engaging. It wasn't that great or anything. However, up next we have Knight Errant, which I'm curious about. I hear that it's 50-50. People actually really like the main character of Knight Errant, or they really dislike her. And a lot of people talk about the world building being a bit too much, but I'm a guy who kind of loves world building, so we'll see how I feel about that. And I hear that every other character is pretty interesting. So who knows what I'm going to think, but I'm really excited to find out. So I hope you all join me as we discuss the final thing following John Jackson Miller for a while, which is the Knight Errant comics, novels, and yeah, I hope you all join me for that as I go through my journey for the first time of the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Of course, there are some things that are going to be overlapping now that I'm going through it all, which I've already read, like the Darth Bane and Plagueis. But Um, I'm so excited to see all the new things that I've not experienced yet. So I hope you all join me for that. And until next time, may the Force be with you.